Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be getting over and preventing future heartbreak. Well, probably one of the worst feelings that you can experience as a human being is heartbreak. Getting your heart broken, falling in love with someone, getting dumped unexpectedly, or having somebody that you thought you were going to have a great future with basically communicate to you that they don't want to have any kind of future with you at all. And it's always when you're licking your wounds, it feels like your world's going to end. It's like literally, what's interesting is the part of your body that's the emotional center is the part like where your rib cage comes together in that V shape where it ends. Like that area is the emotional center of your body, and that's where you're going to experience the really traumatic, difficult emotional pain from a breakup. And I've got a guy that is in that particular situation, and it's obvious he's hurting pretty bad. And so he says, "Hey, Coach, I've noticed that since being with my ex after our breakup, it feels like I've lost or forgotten how to talk to and pick up women like I used to. My ex and I had a strong emotional connection, so I guess the breakup a couple of months ago that my spirit hasn't fully recovered." And the thing that you got to understand is that when you are in a relationship with somebody and you fall in love with them, obviously you develop over time a deep emotional connection to them, or somebody that you meet that you really had a great time with and you feel like they were into you as much as you were into them, and then for whatever reason you fucked up or didn't know what you're doing and then you get dumped. The thing is that you're emotionally attached to that person at that point. And even though you can meet a drop-dead gorgeous woman, it's gonna take some time because it's gonna be harder to move on and make a date with a new girl just because you feel like shit, because you just simply don't feel desire. It's like you want what you had in the past, and as human beings, when we don't let go of a relationship that has ended, or we want reality to be other than it is or different than it is, we suffer. And that's why you're suffering, because you basically want your girl back. You want to still be with your girl even though you're not with her. And so you want your reality to be other than it is, which is that you're no longer together with her. And your whole identity associates with that particular relationship. And now that that relationship is not there anymore, that person's no longer in your life, and since you associated a big part of your identity with who you are regarding being in that relationship, it's very painful, because it's like, in a way, you feel like you lost part of yourself. You've lost part of what is no longer there, or where you used to get a lot of what was once a source of great emotional comfort and strength for you is just simply not in your life anymore. And especially when the relationship is just in it, or it's a few weeks or maybe a few months after that, it's going to be hard when you're talking to somebody, because you're not going to have that deep emotional connection. And in this respect, women are able to get or to move on after a breakup a lot quicker than guys, because they'll go and they'll get a therapist, they'll talk it out with their girlfriends, and they know that the quickest way to move on after a breakup is simply to start going out on dates and hooking up and sleeping with a few guys or whatever. And that's what a lot of women will do, is they just simply, because most beautiful women usually have 4 or 5 guys that are the nice guy friends that are in the background that want to date them, and they'll hang out on the side and wait for her to become single again. And so when she breaks up with her boyfriend, she starts calling these guys and hanging out with these guys and getting all of this attention from other men and meeting new men. And maybe she hooks up with a few of them, or she meets some random dude when she's out with her girlfriends and hooks up with them, just because it helps to have new experiences with new people when there's a breakup there. That's what makes it a lot easier to move on. And in that respect, guys will tend to lick their wounds a lot longer, and it'll take them a lot longer to recover. And especially when they find that their ex-girlfriend is now out literally like a week after the breakup all over some other dude, and one of his buddies like, "Hey, I saw your girlfriend. She was all over this fucking dude with all these he was all tatted up, this biker kind of guy." And so he hears that, and it makes him feel like shit. It's like, how could she totally move on when I'm still hurting? And that's because they know that it's a lot better to have somebody there. You got to get back on the horse, so to speak, like the old saying goes. And so he says, "It feels like mentally I may be preventing myself from talking to and building up an emotional connection with another woman because of the trauma from the breakup with my ex." And that's the thing. It's that the idea is that you got to learn from what happened. You got to learn what led to the breakup. You got to take an objective look at it, and that's what my book can really help you with. Is when you read through it and you go through all those things, you realize all the mistakes that you made and all the warning signs that were there, and all the times that she told you that you need to get your shit together, or you need to change this, you need to change that, and you just kind of ignored it and just thought, oh, hey, she's with me, it's not a big deal. But it's not until you have this emotional pain that you realize that something needs to change, that what you were doing obviously was not working. The strategy that you used to approach your relationship simply was not working. And where a lot of guys go wrong is they make the mistake of not spending any time objectively looking at what they did wrong in their relationship, and they instead just point the finger at the girl and say, oh, it's all her fault, because it's easy to do that and claim, oh, it's just she's fucked up, or she's got problems, or she's this, she's that. They don't want to look at their own behavior because their ego can't take it. And the problem is since they never learn anything new, they don't learn any new relationship skills or pickup skills or dating skills. They just go out and repeat the same exact mistake with the next girl, and she dumps them for the same exact reasons that the previous girl dumped them for. He says, my whole body felt unbelievably heavy and fatigued. It felt like there was a hole in my chest just sucking everything in. It was almost debilitating. And that's why I talk about you got to feel it to heal it. You got to take the time to sit at home and to cry and scream, punch your pillow, whatever you got to do. Scream into your pillow when you're alone and nobody's around, because you got to feel those emotions. You got to feel that hurt. You got to feel that pain, because if you experience the pain authentically, it's the only way you can feel it and heal it and move through it. And it's not something where it's like flipping a light switch on. It's something you have to do, especially in the first few weeks after a breakup. You have to do it every day or even several times a day, because if you look at how children experience emotions, when they're running around, they fall and they stub their knee, and even though they may not even break the skin, it gets all red, they're screaming bloody murder, and their mom comes over, their dad comes over and kisses their boo-boo, and then 30 seconds later they're dancing around like nothing ever happened. And it's because they experienced the emotion, they felt it, they healed it because they authentically were present with the emotion, and then they move right past it. And so they're on to the next moment, experiencing the next thing. And so as the weeks and the months go by, when you take time to grieve and feel your pain, to be authentically present with it, as the days and weeks go by, it gets less and less and less. And it gets to the point where eventually you accept it. And once you've accepted it, then you're able to move past, because there's several stages for grieving. Usually the first stage is disbelief, or what's the word I'm looking for? Or basically you don't want to accept it. It's denial. Denial is usually the first step. And then the second step after that is usually anger. You get pissed off at the other person. You want to blame them for the breakup. You want to blame them for the hurt that caused you. And then the third stage is acceptance. And once you've accepted it, that it is what it is, because at the end of the day, you can't do anything about the past. It's gone. It's never coming back. And you can't do anything about the future because it's simply not here yet. The only thing that you can do is be present in the moment. When you're present in the moment, you just accept the fact that, hey, you know what, I fucked up. I need to learn some new things. I need to learn some new skills. Obviously, that's what's led you to my work. So take the time to learn and absorb so you can become stronger and become a better man. And then once you've accepted it, then you get to a place where you're open to learning, or you're open to meeting someone new and starting something new with them. But like I said, you got to take time to feel it to heal it. He said, so while I've been talking and dating and hooking up, I feel like the level of conversation I was once capable of still hasn't recovered, and that internally I may be afraid of going through that kind of pain again. Totally understandable, but you got to keep doing it. You got to get your ass back up on the horse. I've met great girls. It's just that I can't seem to talk to and tease like I used to. Any thoughts? Be patient and keep doing what you're doing. It's going to take days, weeks, months. Keep doing what you're doing and keep learning and applying the stuff that I teach, because knowledge can be power when you apply it. And so when you apply this stuff and you start to see the things that I talk about showing up in the women that you're interacting with, and plus you see it in all the other people that are interacting with other women that you're watching and observing, it'll give you an incredible level of confidence, because then you get to the point where you feel like you're kind of psychic in a way, where you can predict how things are going to go. And that's what builds your confidence. And as your confidence comes back and you feel better about yourself and you slowly accept that the breakup has happened and that it's over, then you get to a place where you feel peaceful, you feel relaxed, and you have peace about the situation. And then it's really easy at that point to move on with a new woman. He says, my only regret is that I didn't have your book at the start of the relationship. And it's like, well, you didn't know what you didn't know, and the only thing you got to look at is that you did the best that you could with where you're at, and what led you to my work was obviously the pain of the breakup. So just resolve to absorb this stuff and to learn it, to own it, to apply it in your own life, so you don't get to a situation where you get dumped unexpectedly again in the future. He said, my ex was really everything that I'd wanted for years. I had a list and she fit damn near everything on it, but I messed it up. We don't talk anymore, and it's like she's a different person. I can't have something like this happen to me again, Corey. I just can't. He says, P.S. How are you able to read everyone's stories and be so compassionate, understanding, and blunt? Because I never bullshit anybody, because I've been through this shit before enough times. I mean, I'm 42 years old, and when you've been through all the things that I've been through in my life, and you've talked to literally thousands of women over the years and interacted with thousands of women, dated hundreds and hundreds of women, slept with all the women I've slept with, had relationships, I was married once. It's like you learn and you grow from it, because every time a relationship ends, you gotta be able to learn where you went wrong so you can take responsible action to improve your skills so you don't repeat the same mistakes in the future. And most guys don't do anything to learn. They just keep going out and repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So if you find this message of value, you can show your appreciation by going to my website. Click the Wibbia toolbar down at the bottom of your screen. We'll have a PayPal donate button. Donate any amount that you feel is equal to the value of the information in this video. And if you have a question you want to ask me, or there's a topic you want me to cover in a future video newsletter, go to my website, click the Contact Me tab on the left-hand side of your screen, I should say, and just send me 1 to 2 paragraphs max detailing your questions, your situation, your challenges, and you just got to give me several days to get back to you with a response, because I get a lot of email from the internet, and I also get a lot of it from my paying phone coaching customers. But be patient, and I will get back to you. If you want to talk to me right away, the quickest way to get my help is to book a paid phone coaching session, and you can do that by going to my website, click the Products tab, which is going to be at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions. If you want to get a digital version of my Kindle ebook, you don't have to have a Kindle device. Just go to my website. Underneath the email sign-up box on the right-hand side of the page, there'll be a link that'll take you to the Amazon Kindle download page, and on the right-hand side, there's a button that will just click that and download whatever app for either your iPhone, your Android smartphone, your Android tablet, your iPad, your PC, your Mac, whatever kind of device you have that you want to read the book on. Just download the free app for it. It takes a matter of seconds. And after you got the app, it only takes a few more seconds to download my book, and you'll be reading it in no time. And I will talk to you soon.